plugs. Black Cat Feline. Two ladies that host Fan and Fanatic. Great show, and obviously it's two ladies, so it's something different, and it's entertaining. At least compared to some of the videos I watch. So many reviewers out there. So little entertaining ones. And Guys with Steel Chairs. Kind of a round table discussion slash hitting people with belts and chairs. It's good stuff. So check out those channels. I'm going to deviate from any kind of wrestling things. And you're like, you can't do that. You're called The Wrestling Show. Have you guys ever watched MTV lately? Didn't they used to show music videos? But now they're like, oh, we only show that on MTV3. You know? We only show Real World and such. So heck, the wrestling show doesn't always have to be about its namesake. Though you think it would be. I'm going to go over Nickelodeon. And more specifically the NickToons, the original four. Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and Rocco. Oh, Nickelodeon was good. Especially in the early to, 1990 through 97. Heck, music in general was pretty good. TVs with their sitcoms good. Gas was 90 cents or so. Or under. Good decade. Good for wrestling too. Very nice decade. At least especially compared to the current decade. Whew. Although there's been a few good things that happened in this decade. Anyway, back onto the Nicktoons. Good cartoons, not the best cartoons, and there were a lot of other cartoons in this decade, but I thought I'd go over these. Doug. I rate it 2 3/4 stars. Because, I don't know, it's kind of like that. It was a mediocre cartoon. Sure, everyone remembers it, but I don't know, I didn't really like it. Doug's Persona fantasy characters, Quailman for example, was actually lamer than Doug himself. He wore a belt and underwear outside his pants, and his superpowers were lame. All he did was stare at people with the quail eye and, like, I guess used logic. He's like, you will look at my way, and he'll hypnotize. Stupid. But there was one saving grace on that show. Porkchop, the only character that that knew what was going on and tried to speak to everybody. Obviously he couldn't because he's a dog. Of course, the fact that he was a dog and was intelligent, more intelligent than people, was kind of weird. And you had Doug's next door neighbor, Mr. Dink, who nowadays he'd be arrested by the FBI. I mean, he had to be a terrorist. Have you seen all his crazy inventions? You had Skeeter, his best blue friend. Those two twins, like Alan Moe, which were supposed to be some geeky kids or something. Similar to Mr. Dink. Roger the bully. Patty Mayonnaise, his love interest. She wasn't that hot, really. Even when I was like 9, 10 years old, I'm like thinking, yeah, the fact that she never changed her clothes and her taste in clothes, sorry. And that's pretty much it for Doug. Doug was, Next, Rugrats. You had, Rugrats was basically a toddler's perspective on the world. Whoa. But the most overbooked, overexposed character on there. I give this show, I'm gonna rank it unavailable because I hardly ever watched it. Mostly because of Chucky was so exaggeratedly scared of everything. I know he was a toddler and they're going for the toddler thing, but I babysat my niece and nephew, when they were 2, 3, and they were not that scared of everything. I mean, Chucky probably grew up to be a schizophrenic serial killer, he's just like, clowns, I'm scared of clowns, I'm scared of everything, but Tommy. I'm surprised Tommy didn't just punch him in the face. The twins, Phil and Lil, they were like little rebels. Tommy was the leader because he was brave and bald. And Angelica was the little older cousin of Tommy. She was a big troublemaking brat. The typical I'm rich and spoiled. And of course you had Susie, and eventually Rugrats went into newer episodes, which, you know, were far unsuperior, even to the mediocre original ones where they added, like, Tommy's brother and etc., etc. I like the grandpa character the best, though. Hilarious. Ren and Stimpy, I'm going to give 4 stars. Granted, it was crude humor. They underutilized Powdered Toast Man. He was hilarious. What a retarded superhero. All I do is show up and sprinkle like cinnamon on your stuff. I'm a superhero made of toast. Not as ridiculous though as Artie, the strongest man in the world. Pete and Pete, but that's not a Nicktoon. But still great 90s show from Nickelodeon. But yeah, I guess they got kicked off eventually, along with the other original Nicktoons, because they didn't meet PG quality or something. But keep in mind, Nickelodeon, MTV were all, you know, owned by the same person. And originally Nickelodeon, get this, was geared towards, you know, 12 to 16-year-olds, so. But somehow we fell off that slope and now only aim towards 8-year-olds, which is weird because if you're too young to be, you know, to watch that cartoon and not realize, oh, it's just a cartoon, I shouldn't actually do that stuff, you know. You have Nick Jr., you have Barney. I mean, if you're not old enough to realize it's a cartoon and you shouldn't emulate that, then you shouldn't be watching it. I mean, I guess parents don't need responsibility, or guardians, legal guardians. They're just like, oh, I'll just ruin, you know, Nickelodeon for everybody and tell them to take off those shows. And Nickelodeon caved. But that's the future. We're pretending we're still in the 90s here. And finally, Rocko's Modern Life. I'm going to give it 3 stars. A little more sophisticated than Ren and Stimpy. You had Rocko, the main character, who was a pretty self-reliant, somewhat steadfast character. Seemed always poor and just roughing it. You know, all he had was a dog, 2 somewhat retarded friends, Heifer the steer, and Filbert the turtle. And his crazy next door neighbors, the big heads that always had it out for him. I think the funniest episode of Rocko was when they were hired to do a cartoon. You know, in the cartoon, they were making a cartoon. It was called Wacky Deli. Type in Wacky Deli onto YouTube. Hilarious. And I don't know. If it wasn't the fact that Ren and Stimpy, you know, premiered before Rocko, like if Rocko would have premiered first, I probably would have liked Rocko better than Ren and Stimpy just because I would have had more exposure to it. But Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy, Doug, I guess, and Rugrats. Great cartoons. Check them out sometime, along with the other great Nickelodeon shows of the past. Salute Your Shorts. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Can't do that on television. Space Cases was okay. It was like a sci-fi child's, you know, series. Double Dare. What am I forgetting? Clarissa Explains It All. Bleh. Alex Mack. Bleh. I guess they had the Tomorrow People on there. Guts was kind of dumb. Hey Dude. Anyway, I could keep going. Pretty good stuff. Solid, usually lineup. Except Stick Stigley. He brought down Nickelodeon. Good job, you dumb popsicle stick. So, yeah, that's my overview of that. And we will return to wrestling on next episode. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you have not. If you have, thanks. And, question, little trivia question. I think I already asked this at the beginning, but I have ADD. Name 3 Eurocontinental champions. Meaning, a wrestler has held both the Intercontinental and the European title at the same time. Name 3. And thank you for watching.